Hello and welcome to our basic training today. My name is Sophie and I will lead you through the training today. We are having a basic training for today, so what that means is that we're gonna have a look on the basic functions of presono, so how to create a slide, how to create a presentation, and how to navigate in the tool. For further information, for further training, for example, for administrative functions or for template, for the topic of templates, there are several other trainings available for you. Good, so our journey today, what we're gonna have a look on first is the main principle of presono. So that's very important to keep in mind, and because it works kind of a bit different to other tools that you might know. After that, we're gonna go straight into the tool and have a look on the navigation and the content management in the tool. And right after that, we're gonna get a step deeper. So the next module is like a content about presentations. We're gonna create our own presentations. We're gonna send them, share them, hold presentations, and analyze them. So then we're in point 4. Right after that, we're gonna get one step even deeper into the topic and we're gonna have a look on the topic of slides. And in the end, we're gonna have a look on some background functions like the settings, the feedback, and the notifications. So we're gonna start with the basic principle of presono. For a starter, I would like to remind about the basic principle of PowerPoint. Why? Because everybody kind of knows how that works. So in PowerPoint, it's like that there is a presentation and the presentation is basically a file. And if I copy the file and take it from a colleague, for example, I will create a completely individual copy of that file. And I mean the whole file. So the structure of the presentation as well as the presentation slides and even the content in there. So the texts, the images, the videos, whatever, it is all copied. So I create a completely individual copy of the whole presentation as a file, and I can do whatever I would like to with that presentation. I can change the style, the content, whatever. We use a completely different basic principle. So we used so-called single source principle. You might know that from services like Spotify. In Spotify, for example, there is like you have one big container and there all the songs are available in there, but they exist only once. So the single source principle. So my favorite song, for example, exists just once, but I can have it in all my playlists. Like I can have it like 10 times, but it still exists just once. So if Spotify deletes the file, the original song, it will be gone as well in my playlist because I used the reference to the single song, so the original file. We use the same principle. So in presono, there is one big container of contents. For example, slides. And each and every single user can choose from this big content pool and choose their slides for their presentation. The whole thing is then centralized managed. So what does that mean? So it means that each slide, as well as media and templates, exist only once. So that's the single source principle. So what does that mean? That means that you can manage it centralized. So centrally. That means that if you change something on an original slide, so on any slide basically, it will be changed on the original file. So you change the file in the content pool and it will be updated in every presentation that uses this slide because the slide itself exists just once. The playlists, so the presentations, are only referring to the original content. This is very important to keep in mind. Why? Because in PowerPoint, it is all about the file, so the presentation as a file. And in presono, it's all about the single slide. So you always have to keep in mind, if you change the slide, you will change the original slide. The whole thing is basically a live system. So you only need a browser to get to you to get access to all your contents, to all your presentations, files, whatever. We recommend the usage of Google Chrome because that's like the latest version, and it's like the last on the latest state of technology. But in order to not being dependent on the browser, we also offer some applications. Those applications offer you the bonus of having an offline mode available. So what you can do is that you can synchronize all your data and you will have it with you offline. Even in the plane without any internet connection, you can still work on your presentations or even present. So you don't need any online connection. We offer an application for the desktop. So this application is also for working. So it's basically exactly the same thing as you would find if you use presono in your browser. And we also offer some applications for your smartphone and tablet. Those apps were created for presenting. Good. So basically, we have some other. So in the background, basically, we have some more features, of course. So that was the basic principle. So what's behind all that, and we also have some more features. So just to name a few, we have a user and write access management, so you can actually control who is seeing which content, who is allowed to do to use what function in the system, and so on. Also, we can manage some translations of slides, so you can choose from different versions of your slide. Also, easy sharing is possible, and we can create even more fancy, interactive, and flexible and multimedia presentations. So you can have interactive presentations that looks and works more like an app as you are used to it, so you don't have to follow the strict path that you prepared. But more on that later on. And in the end, it might be good to mention that we have also available some analytics. So you can also analyze what you've shown, what is used the most often, and even you can track what you've sent to your customer and did they have a look on the presentation that I sent them. Good. So as a conclusion, here you can see the different objects that we actually have in presono, and it's kind of like, as you can see, it's kind of like a process. Why? Because with presono you have again the possibility to put a process behind your presentations. You don't have to, but you can by using like access rights and everything. So here is how it builds up. So in the first step, you will need a template. Templates are also centralized managed. So you create one template and you can create many slides from that one template. So the first step is a template. Then you will fill it up with content. So you use a template where all the design is fixed already. So, and you fill it up with content, then you create a slide. When you've created some more slides, you can create your playlists, so your presentations, and you can hold your presentations, which leads you to the session, because the system is tracking what you actually show during your presentation. It will save it as a session. In the end, you can export your session, for example, as a PDF. What do I mean by a process? So you can actually put some roles on that process. So to give you an example, for example, the marketing team is responsible for the design. So they create the templates. They create the background and the layout templates, and they will take care of everything that has to do with the design. So basically they take care of the font, the size, the color, the positions, and everything like that. So they will have a look on what, so actually they will control that the layouts and the templates are conform to your CI. Once they are done, they can give it to the next, so the next department can come into action. This might be, for example, the product management. They will take the templates from the marketing team, which are designed already, and fill it up with content so they can focus on the content. They just put into the templates their content, the text, the images, whatever. Once they've created their slides, the next team can come into action. So for example, the sales team can now come and take some slides from that centralized managed content pool and put them into their playlists, so into their presentations. They can focus on the storytelling. Why? Because the content was already done by the product management department, and the design was already taken care of by the marketing team. So they can focus on the storytelling. So as you can see, we can have here like roles behind that. So those are the steps. So first you create the layout, you create the design. Next you will create the content, you will create the slides, and in the end you will create the playlist. So you create the storytelling. Good. So now let's start and go to directly into the system. For logging into your presono, either you open up your desktop app or you just open up your browser. Put into your browser URL line my.presono.com, as you can see here, and then you will see this mask. So this login mask, this login screen. Here you can enter your email address and your password, and then you can just log in. If you forgot your password, just click here and you will receive another email to reset your password. Down here you have links to the applications. Now I will just log in. After the login, I will be led to the dashboard. On my dashboard, I have all my favorite and all the most important functions right here at the palm of my hand. So what do we have here? First of all, we can look for content, so we can search for content. Also, we can create some content right here with a plus icon. Right below that, we have our favorite presentations. So everything that we need, we can mark it as favorite. We can click on it, start it, and that's it. Below that, we can create a presentation from a set. So a completely empty presentation. Basic is based on a template set. And right down below, we have at the very bottom the recent presentations in my system, in my platform. So I can see what was updated lately. For the general navigation, on the top here, we always see in what part we are right now. And on the left-hand side, we have a main navigation bar, which is always visible. By clicking on the presono logo, we can expand the navigation bar and we can collapse it again by clicking it again. Here we can see the different main parts of presono. So first we have the home button. It's the dashboard. It will lead to the dashboard. Right below that, we have the heart of presono. So that's the content management. This is where all the content is stored, managed, created. Everything that has to do with content will happen here. So that's basically the heart of presono. Right below that, we have the sessions. Sessions are like when you hold a presentation, the system will track what you've shown, and those are available right here. We will come to that later on automatically during our training. Below that, we have the analytics. So those are the basic analytics from the system. So what content is shown the most often and so on. And below that, we have the shared contents. The shared contents is everything that you have shared externally. You will find it here again. And you can even track it here. At the bottom, we have first of all the help icon. So this will lead you to our knowledge base. There you will find some articles that might help you during your work if some questions occur. And right at the very, very bottom, we will find the settings. We will come to that later on. I will go to the content management right now. So clicking here on the file icon, I will access the content management. Right here, we have all our contents available in presono. So there are so many contents in here, different types of content, PDFs, and as well as media files, presentations, or slides. Those are like all the contents that are available for me and my user with my access rights. But in order to find your desired content or to save your desired content correctly, there are some tools that will help you in doing so. First of all, we have a search bar. So up here we have a full text search bar, and we can enter here some buzzwords like business. If I press enter, the system will show me every content that is related to that buzzword. First of all, it looks, of course, on the title, but also on slides, it will search in the content itself. The higher the match, the higher the ranking. Instead of the search, or in combination with the search, you can also use some filters that are available on the left-hand side, as you can see. We have different type of filters. First of all, we have the content filters in the left upper corner here. Here we can see the different types of contents that are available in presono for you. First of all, we have the slides. So those are like the single elements, as you can see right here. Here is all the slides in presono, so you can filter for them. Next, we have presentations. Those are the playlists referring to that single slides. Next, we have the template sets. The template sets are sets of templates, and the templates are used for the slides. So each slide uses a template. You cannot create a slide without a template. But for the easier management of templates, they are put together in sets. So depending on the topic, you can put together templates in a set. You have different styles, for example. Below that, we have media files and documents. So you can filter, for example, for images or for PDF documents. Instead of those, or in combination of those with those filters, you also have workspaces. Workspaces are a central topic in presono. A workspace is actually the space where you work together with your team on your contents. So each content has exactly one workspace. This is kind of like the space where it's saved. So the saving position, if you want to say it like that. So to give you an example, the marketing department is working on the marketing content in the marketing workspace. This is like one of the examples. So actually, what you do in the workspace is you put together users and the contents. So you give the user special rights for that one workspace. So to give you another example, in a big company, it's usual to have a global workspace. And in that global workspace, there is, for example, the company presentation. And the company presentation should be available for everyone, but only a few users should be allowed to edit the content, so to change the slides. Why? Because the slides are now centralized managed. So if you change one slide, it will be updated in all presentations where it's used. Again, just to remind you about that. So what you do is in the global workspace, you will set different user permissions. For example, if there is the company presentation in there, the marketing team should be responsible for updating the content and to change it. So the marketing team will have editing rights in the global workspace. But on the other hand, the sales department should only use the presentation just the way it is. They should not be allowed to change something in the presentation. but they will only have the access rights to read in the global workspace. And that's how you manage your content, basically. And in addition, the workspaces can be used as filters. So for example, like that, I can see what's saved in the global workspace, what is available for me. And I can have different access rights in the different workspaces that I see right here. Some more filters that you have available are the categories. The categories in presono are only used for adding a content to a topic, so connecting a content to a topic. You can completely create your own categories and your own category structure. For example, you can use it like your product groups or your product categorization or your company structure or in teams or just topics that pop up. You can use any categories that you would like to. To give you an example and to make it more comparable, there are also categories, for example, at Amazon. If you use Amazon and you will look for example one cookbook, this product exists just once on Amazon, and either you will find it with the search bar, as you can do it also here in presono, because you exactly know what you're looking for. So you put in the name and there your product is. Or you can go by using categories. And by using categories, you can use different categories because the product, the cookbook, for example, is available in different categories. The product can be available when using the category of cooking, outdoors, presents, bestsellers, whatever. But it still is the same product, but it belongs to basically to different topics. And in presono, it's the same way. So you can, for example, search for media categories. I created the media categories in that case. We can look, for example, for background images. Good. To demonstrate how the centralized management of presono is working, I will upload a new file right now. So I will click on new and upload a new item. So everything that is created new will be created right here. Upload new item and a mask will open up. I can click here to browse, or I can just drop a file if I want to. So I drop one file in here. I can rename it here if I want to. Once I've renamed it, I will have to choose a workspace, for example, the global workspace. And I will use some categories because I cannot save it without using a category. Background images and general. Save it. And the file will be uploaded then. It might take some time, depending on the internet connection. And right here, we have our image. This image can now be used in any slide in presono. So all slides where you can add an image, you can use this one. To use an image in a slide, you will have to upload it first. So I can open up that file right now and I can see this is my image. It's like, I can rename it, I can save it somewhere else, I can add a media description. So now, let's say we're a few weeks later and that file was used in different slides. And now I have a newer version, or I want to change that image. For example, for a logo, there was an update, or I have a new version of my site image or anything like that. So I don't have to go to every presentation and every slide that uses that image anymore, because the media is also centralized managed. So this media file exists just once. It can be reused as often as you want to, but it exists just once. So I have now the possibility to replace it. Replace it completely everywhere that it was used. For that, I open up the file. So I'm looking for the file, open it up, and clicking replace. I will choose another file instead of this one. Choose it, and I say save. It will be uploaded, converted, and after that, it will be replaced everywhere that it was used. So as we can see here, now we have, instead of the window image, we have an image of a nature. So what we have to do now is that we can rename it again. So it's not a window background image anymore, but it's nature background image. I can choose another workspace if I want to, but I don't want to, so I click save. Actually, now it's saved, and everywhere that this file was used, it would be replaced by now, because this file exists just once. Another possibility to replace your content is the function of delete and replace. It works not only for media files, but also for slides. So I can go to the three-dot menu here and replace and delete. In this case, I would have to choose, instead of this slide, another slide to replace it. So I can delete this file and replace it with another one. This is, for example, very practical if you uploaded, for example, the logo twice accidentally, or if you have a newer slide and you want to use it instead of another one. You can delete it and replace it at the same time. For deleting, and even for also for deleting and replacing, of course, there is a special right in presono. So the highest permission that you can ever have in presono is the right to delete. Why? Because of the centralized management. Because if I delete now a slide or an image or whatever, it will be gone for every user. So if I delete this file, for example, now, it will be gone in all the slides and templates and everywhere that it was used. It will be just empty in that position. So that's why it's the highest right to be able to delete something in presono. And that's also why this function is a bit hidden in the system. So it's not very prominent. So I click on the three-dot menu and choose the option to delete that file. I'm asked again if I'm really sure, because it cannot be undone. And once I click delete, the content was removed. And this image will now be gone from every slide that used that file. So that's a centralized management. So what we did for now is the navigation and the content management. So we have had a look on the search bar, on the filters, on the contents, and how we manage our contents, how we upload a new file, delete it, replace it. The next topic that we're going to have a look on is the topic of presentations. A presentation in presono is further consisting of slides, but it's actually just a playlist. So it's only a list of referring to the central content. So it consists of slides, but the slides themselves are managed kind of separately. So there are three ways that I can get to my presentation for today. First step, I use a presentation just the way it is. So the first possibility I have, I filter for presentations, open up a presentation that I'm looking for, and I click start, and that's it. The second possibility that I have is to duplicate the presentation, so the playlist of someone else. I can, for example, choose this file and click duplicate in the right dot, in the three-dot menu. Duplicate my business presentation. I will choose now another workspace and another category. So I will save my playlist now somewhere else. I rename it so I will find it again. Again, the naming of files of any contents in presono is quite important because it enables you to find it via the search bar. If you call your presentation just presentation, you will not be able to find it by using the search bar again. Good, so I've now copied the playlist of this presentation. So I can now open up that playlist. It's my playlist right now, but pay attention, you did not copy the slides in there. You only copied the playlist, so not the slides in there. So you can now open up the presentation and edit, for example, you rearrange your slides. You can delete some slides with the delete key. So I will delete this one, I will delete that one, I will delete that one, and this one, for example, and I will rearrange it and put it like that, for example, and then I click save. And that's it. That's all I'm doing in my presentation. I created my own playlist by using the playlist of someone else. The third possibility, so the first possibility to get to your presentation is to use the presentation of someone else. The second possibility to get to your presentation is to duplicate the presentation of someone else, so the playlist. And the third possibility that we have is we create a completely new presentation. So we create a new playlist. We click on the new button, click on create a new presentation, and there we are. This is my new presentation. I can click now on my first presentation. I will type in here my title. So that's the first thing I can do. I can do it later on as well. And then I click here on the plus icon because now I have to choose some slides for my playlist. So I click on plus, and now it opens up the content structure or content structure light, and I can use the search bar or the filters to find my content. And I will say green, and then I can choose from different slides. So I choose this, for example, that one, this one, this one, and that one, for example. One with images as well. And then I click insert on the right upper corner. I have put now my slides into the presentation, and now I can rearrange it. I click that slide and put it on the top because it's, for example, the top slide. I can also use these arrows here. Arrows. I will choose this one, put it right up here, and that one comes right at the end. Good. So basically that's my presentation. And now I'm content with my playlist, and I click save in the right upper corner. I will say my workspace under general in training content. The title is correct, so I click save. Everything that I'm taking care of when working with the presentation is like the arrangement of the slides and adding or deleting slides. That's it. The content, as you might remember from this graph here, the content is done here in the slide. Now I'm just in the presentation, so I just focus on the storytelling. I'm not dealing with the content and not dealing with the design of the slides because that was created before I'm now in my presentation. So that's my presentation. Now I can, for example, see here in the little eye, I can see who created the presentation, when what is last updated, and that's it. I can also mark it as favorite here. I can give a feedback, or I can send my presentation right now. But I don't want to. Actually, I just want to present it. For presenting, I have different options. First, I can just click start. So I will just start off my presentation. Or I will have a look on the drop-down menu right next to the start button. First of all, we can choose either to start from the first slide or from the current slide. So if I just want to start here, or we can open up the presenter view. For that, you will need two screens. So you have to split the screens, and this is like a classical presentation view. So you see the current slide, the next slide, the time, the past time, and like the actual clock and everything, and also some notes if you wanna add some notes. The notes I will quickly show you. You will find right down here for each and every single slide. Here you have different options. First of all, you can differ between notes only visible to you or notes visible for everyone using this slide, because the notes will be added to the slide because the slide can be reused. So first of all, you can choose either if the notes are visible just for you or for everyone. And in both of those options, you can choose again, either if you want to have the notes for you only in this presentation or in every presentation that you use that slide. So either you make notes for your presentation or for your slide, and you can reuse it again. Those notes will be then displayed when you're using the second screen modus, so the presenter view here in the right corner. I don't use that now. I will just click start. My presentation will be started in full screen view. For navigating through the presentation, you have different options. First of all, you can use the spacebar on your keyboard. Also, you can use the arrow keys, the right and the left one, to go forward and back. Of course, a normal presenter, like going backwards and forwards, is also possible, so you can use this one. Also, everything, it's also working in the application. And then you have some more options. So you can use the spacebar or the arrow keys or a presenter to go back and forward. But in presono, you can also have interactive presentations. So actually you can set a link, like create a button or whatever, and use this one to navigate through your presentation, or to use it to add some additional content. So you can set a link, for example, on an image to get access to a different content. So that's what you need your mouse for during your presentation, or your finger if you use a touch device, of course. You cannot use the enter key for going forward or back. Why? I will quickly show you, because during your presentation, pressing the enter key, and this will happen. What's that? That's basically the content structure again. So in the second screen mode, of course, the viewers will not, so your listeners will not see that one. But I want to show it to you right now. So during your presentation, you will stay flexible. What do I mean by that? It means that you can always have access to any other content during your presentation without exiting the presentation. Normally, if you're now, for example, asked for different numbers, or if you're now asked for another product or anything like that, everything that you did not prepare, you will normally exit the presentation, look for the content, and so on and so on. With presono, you don't need to do that any longer. So you can actually press your enter key during your presentation and have access to all the contents available. So I can use the search bar, for example, and if I'm asked for some other numbers, for example, I will click on it and they will just be inserted right here. So I go backward, right where I started, go forward, the inserted slide exists here. I can also enter not only a slide, but also a whole presentation or even media files. So for example, I can insert a video. This is a video. I click play by just clicking it, and you can show, for example, a product video that you were asked for. I can just continue with my presentation afterwards, and if I go back, the video is right here, like inserted. In the enter menu, you have some more options. For example, you can exit the presentation, you can go back to the prepared presentation, or you can give feedback. And right here, you have the possibility to choose from another language. In this case, we can choose German, for example. I mean, this slide is not really full of content, so it doesn't change anything. But if we enter, for example, the welcome presentation, we can see it because this is German. And if we change the language now to English, this is the English version of that slide. So I choose English now, and so I switched the whole language of my presentation. If I'm done, I will press either the enter menu, exit here, or I just exit the presentation. I abort the presentation right now. Once we have ended our presentation, we're no longer in the presentation view. We are in the session. What is the session? I mentioned it before. The system is tracking what you are presenting. So basically, it's recording what you're presenting. So it will create a session for each time that you present something. Why? Because I inserted different content. So I inserted this slide, a video, then I continued, and then I inserted another presentation, like a whole presentation. In this case, I just showed one slide. So the system knows that I presented today exactly that order of slides. Why? Because now I can just share it with my listeners. I can click on share, and I can share either as a PDF or a link. I can share my session without any further problems, without any further work. And I will show you quickly the PDF. So I will open it up right now. The PDF looks like that. So each slide is a single page. I can just download it. I can save it somewhere. I can print it, whatever. But a PDF is kind of a strict thing, or like kind of a stiff thing. So we don't have any animations. The video is not working. As you can see, I can click, but it's just an image. So there's no animation, no videos, no links, nothing like that. But and that's why we have a second option to share our session or presentation. We have the option to share it as a link. In this case, I will have a link created individually for this one session. I can click it, it will be copied. I can also click it here. And then I can share it via different channels, for example, as an email or whatever. And then, as you can see now, I can send it, for example, to my customer that I presented to our products. And then the customer can click on the link, and the receiver of the link does not need access to presono. So they don't have to have access to presono. They will come on that slide, so they will go on the slide, and they can just have a look on the presentation, just the way it is. So just the way you presented it. They can download the PDF file here, or they can click present and see the presentation exactly the way that I showed the presentation. So with all animations, all links, all videos, all inserted files. So this was an inserted file. This is the video. I can click it and play it. And I had a table, and then I had the presentation. So if I'm done, so this is a link. The receiver does not need access to presono, and I can just share my presentation and my health presentation with my customers, with my viewer, with my opposite party. The link, of course, is not available forever. It has like a due date, and you can change that one. I will show you later on. So this is my presentation. I shared it. This is my session. I also have all my sessions available here in the point of sessions. If I click here, I will have access to all the sessions that were created before. I can see here, this is my first presentation, looks like that, was held by me, when, how long, how many slides, which language. So I can open it up again. So just clicking on it, I can open up and access the session. I can, for example, change something, delete something like the video, for example, and change. Then I have to save it, and I can send it again, for example. So I can also edit my sessions. I can just access my sessions right here in the third point in my main navigation bar. So I have all my sessions, and I can even look for them. So I can customize the data set I can use just for my personal sessions held in English. Update, and that's it. I can also edit the date. Good. The next thing I want to show you is the analytics. This is a part which gets interesting once the system is used really for presenting by many people, for example. So here you can see different graphs, like my top 10 presentations or slides, the top content statistics, the slide usage trend, top presenter, and so on. Each graph can be shown in detail and can even be downloaded as CSV. You can also here update, of course, the data set. So entire company, for example, looks a bit different. So those are the analytics available here. By the way, what is available in the sessions and analytics can be steered or like controlled with access rights, so permissions for users. So not every user is allowed to see doesn't have to be allowed to see every analytics and every session. You can like restrict that. The last and most interesting part about sharing might be the shared content. It's the last point here, and you can access every presentation and every session that was shared in the system. Again, manageable with the rights. So each and every single session and presentation that was shared via link can be seen here. So for example, I can see this session was opened 13 times. This one was opened 0 times. And there is, for example, an expired link. Days remaining, everything like that. So I can access this one, and you can see here all the visitors. This was me now. I was already registered because once you open up the sharing link, normally like a small window appears that you where you put in your email address. So you allow basically that tracking here. In my case, I previously entered my email address, so it already knew that it was me accessing that link. So I can see here actually who visited the presentation, the slides. So the link that I just shared, I can see how often, which slide, and how long it was actually visited. So that's actually for controlling quite interesting. Good. So that's basically the topic of presentations. To sum it up, we created our presentations, we duplicated the presentation, we held the presentation, we used the flexibility during the presentation, so we entered some content via the enter menu. We navigated through the presentation, and afterwards we were in the sessions and we shared the sessions and we had a look on the analytics and the shared contents of all those sessions and stuff like that. So this was the topic of presentation with all its aspects, basically. The next big topic for today is the topic of slides. So now we go on one step back, basically. So we were in the presentation right now, and now we're gonna have a look back on, like, deeper into the system, and we're gonna have a look on how the slides are created. So there are different possibilities again. So either you use the slide exactly as it is. So that's what we just did. The next thing is we can also duplicate a slide. So we can just take here that slide, 3 dots, duplicate. I start slide. In my workspace, general, training content, duplicate. Then we created our own start slide. This little preview image might take some time. We can open it up now, and we created a duplicate of the slide now. So we can actually edit the content now. Because now we're on the content level. We created an individual slide, and in our case, this is my start, hello. And here is like name and date, something like that. I can also choose another background image if I would like to. Like, I can change it like by just clicking on the image itself, change image. And now I can just choose another image, for example, this one. It will be inserted like that. I will put it inside there by just put it like that, drag it a bit like that. So, and in this case, now I'm content with it. I just click start, save it, and that's it. Now we see this is the English version. Now we don't forget about the other versions. In this case, there is no translation existing. So this is my English slide, and now I create a German slide by just clicking on this one. I change the and I can even change the image. So that's how you create a translation of a slide. So choose this one, for example, and that's it. I will just save it like that. Good. So what is a translation? A translation, I just did it quite quickly. We will repeat that later on again. So in our case, this is now the slide. I just changed the image and the text. Before it was the green one. And I also created a translation of the slide. What does that mean? I can take a slide in presono and create another version of it, like kind of a translation of it. So I can choose another version, and in our case we created a German one, so I can now choose from German or English version of that slide. German version is a different image, for example, and different text. In our case now we have it like kind of should be bigger like that. Fill it out back. And now we can choose the German version and it looks like that. So it's the content is different, but actually the slide is the same. So now during or before the presentation, I can choose between those two. So this is how I can get to my slide very, very easily. So I just choose a slide and duplicate it, edit the content, and that's basically it. I can also create a new slide. That's the last possibility. For doing so, I click on New, create a new slide, and now I'm asked to choose a template set. Why? Each and every single slide uses a template. Without template, there is no slide. So the templates are also centralized managed. So each template exists just once, but you can reuse them. So the first thing that I'm about to do is to choose the style of my presentation. So this template set. In this template set, there are different templates available. In our case, we choose the green bee because we want to stay in this style we just chose our start slide from. So I click on green bee and all the templates available in there are shown to me. So now the system says like, okay, now you can choose a template, a layout template. In my case, I will just choose, I don't know, this one. I don't want to set a logo because I don't have a logo. Good, so my background image can either I choose the one that's like in there or I can choose it. So what we have here is on the right hand side, we see all the sections available in this slide, in this template. The template tells me everything I need to know about the design of the slide. So I have different sections and I can fill in my content there because that's my job when doing a slide. When doing a slide, again, to remind you, I will focus on the content, not the design of the slide. The design of the slide is done doing the template. So I don't have to take care about that one. So each and every single section tells me what's allowed in there. So I click it either here or here. And now it's allowed an image, a video, an image gallery, or an object viewer. It's a 3D element. But I cannot change like the sections in here. They are fixed because they are following the template. In this section, only text is available because that's the headline. On the left-hand side, there's again media, and here we have some description text available. So I click in the top line, so my headline, I click it and say, this is my headline. So in this case, I don't have to take care about the design anymore, because as you can see, in this case, there is my my font and my size and my color. Everything is already taken care of because that's the design of the slide. I can only manipulate it a bit now because it's allowed in that template, because up here I can do so. So on the first here, we can see the content types of this part available now. So if we choose another one, we can see it changes. So those are all the content types available, and enable this, what is in there. Depending on the content type, there are different options appearing here. For text, I need some different options than for images. So I put in here text, and I can choose, for example, a bit changing like the text font, like the size. I can also choose, for example, the color. Color is allowed in here, so I can put a dark gray, for example. I have to, of course, mark it. And now it's a dark headline. In here, I will put an image. Clicking on the image icon, I will open up and being able to choose images. So I can choose, I can filter, whatever. In my case, I just choose this one. And the image is placed in here. So I can change it anytime by clicking on the image up here. So I will choose one image in presono. If I haven't uploaded the image, I cannot use it. So that's why I can click on the plus icon here and upload a new image that I want to insert now because I forgot to upload it or something. So I choose this one, for example, and now I can position it. But as you can see, I can make it bigger or smaller, but I cannot change kind of I can just crop it, but I cannot change the area itself. So as you can see, the image will be cropped. It has to fit and has to follow that one section. On the other hand, I will put in there a video, for example, the coffee video. I can choose either to make it full in height or width. So, and some other options here are available because the content is different. So I can choose it like to play it in a loop, to play it automatically without sound and everything. I can choose another video, whatever. In the background, I want to choose another image. I don't want to have this green style. It's just an option. So I click image. And I will choose, for example, this one. Here I can just choose the quick function of filling out the whole area. And then I can just add here some text. Option 1. Choose darker theme, and here we have option blah blah. Option 2. Choose also another color, and that's it. So this is my slide. I'm done. I click save. Put a good title. Comparison. General. Save it. So now I created a new slide. If I say now, okay, that's not what I pictured, and I need another image, for example, I need another arrangement, I'm missing something, whatever. You can always choose another template. Only keep in mind you will do so for this slide in general. So you're editing the original slide once you edit the content. For that, I can choose layout up here, and I can just choose another layout if you want to. So, for example, this one. In this case, I changed the template completely. So what I'm doing right now is all the contents has wandered up here into the clipboard. This will be saved with the slide. It's always available up here. And now I have to rearrange it because the system doesn't know what is my headline, what is my image for the background, what is my image for something else. So I click here and I edit my headline, for example, and in here I will put in here, for example, this one, and in here I will just add some, this is my text. And now I can just do a bit of formatting, for example, like that, and put it like in bullet points or like something like that. This one I will do again in white. And then I click save. This preview image might take some moments to be updated. Just needs a few moments. With my new slides, I will create a new presentation. In this case, I click new presentation and add my slides. My start slide and my comparison. Edit them, and that's basically it. I can now save my new presentation. Put it in the title, workspace, and categories again, and that's it. Now maybe I will add another slide, and I can also do so in here. So I click plus and click plus in here again. Then again I have to choose a template. For example, this one. And again I can put in here some images. That one, for example, and like that one, for example, and like that one, for example. So those are basically my slides. So now we've created a new slide in our presentation. That's also possible. Here we choose a background image again. For example, this one. Make it big. And we have some options here. Additionally, for example, we can put in here the grayscale. We can put it up here, or even transparency, so it's like 50%, or so we could see the image behind. In our case, it doesn't make any sense, so I put it again on. Oh, there you go. Good. So what we have some additional options right here in our presentation. So we have now the new slide here, so we can add the title actually right here. So 3 options, for example, is my title for that slide. I can now choose the 3-dot menu and have different options. I can save that slide right now, just the way it is. My workspace, general, that's the title, save it. I can also save that slide as a copy right now, because, for example, I will change this icon for another icon. And now I can do it like, I don't want to change the original one, but I want to create a new one, so I save that slide as a copy. 3 options. New, for example, or something like that, or 3 different options, I don't know. And now I have another version. So this is slide exists now twice. More options, I can remove it from the presentation, but I can also press the delete key on my keyboard. I can set that slide as confidential. That's what happens. It's getting like a watermark. Why? Because that slide is then confidential and it's not gonna leave the system. So once you share your presentation or your session, this slide will be removed. So that's for confidential information, for example. You can also show the metadata, so you can see who created the slide, when was it last updated, and for example, you can see which templates are used. And also you can insert the same slide again, or insert the new slide from a copy from that one. So 3 options, new, copy. So you can copy it like again. In this case, I will remove it again. I don't need that one. Good. So those are the options that you have. Here you have all the options available that you also have in your normal slide editor. You have the sections, the view properties, the content types, and the content properties. Everything is available right here. If you need any further information about content types and what options are available here, this is not, that will be too much for today. So I will give you the hint for going into our knowledge base right down here at the question mark icon and look for the article about that one. So if I open it up like that, I can content types, content, various contents and slides. There it is. If I open it up, you can have here all the different types of content: text, image, media gallery, video, object viewer, PDF, table, and iframe. And you will find, for example, a description and how to use it and what are the options. So this is my so if you need any further information about content types, please find it in the knowledge base. There are two things now I want to show you before we're done with the topic of slides. First thing is languages again, and so the translation, and the other thing is linking, so creating an interactive presentation. So the first thing is the translation again. So we already created a German version of the start slide, but we did not translate the other two. So that's what we're gonna do next. So first we click save to be on the safe side. We save the presentation, and then all we have to do is we change the language of the presentation. So we click on the flag, go to German, and it already says 2 of 3 slides are translated already. So I click here, and now we have here a title and the presentation. As you can see, this slide is translated. So that's what we did before. And here, when you click on that one, it says this slide was not yet translated to the current slide, to the current language. So I can even translate the title for myself. So meine erste eigene Präsentation. And the first slide is already updated. The second slide I have to translate now. So this slide was not translated. You want to create a translation? Yeah, I want to translate it now. Just click here. Got it? And then it's like, ist meine headline. As you can see, it's no longer fitting into the area. That's a problem. So what I'm gonna do is I will change the size of the text, if this is available, because that has to be allowed from the template. Otherwise, your content has to be following the design basically. So it's the other way around that you're used to it. So most of us are used to it. So I'm not changing the section for my content, but I'm changing the content for my sections. So, and for the translations, it's just like that this translation is basically another version of the slide. So as I explained before, you have a German version of that slide, and now you have an English version of that slide. They are, from the content, they are completely independent. So I can choose some other text, I can choose some other images, I can even put in here a video instead of an image. Doesn't really matter, but the template stays the same. So if I change the template right here, if I would choose another template, it will be also changed in the German version. So please take care. So now I'm done. I'm doing the third one as well. Translate it now. Got it. And I will choose, I don't know, I will change some icon, for example, like this one. So that there is a difference actually. When I'm done, I click save. There's again the hint that I modified some slides. I save it because I want to change the slides anyway. Good. So that's basically my translation. What I want to show to you now is linking. So you can create from basically any area or any section in presono. You can use it as a link. Maybe you might think of a button in a website, for example. So I can say, if I click on this icon in this area, I wanna do some action. So actually I'm setting a link on that one. I have different options for that one. For example, for that home, I have the option here to link because the template allows me to do so. I have different options. First of all, I can go to the first slide of my presentation. So when presenting and I click here, I'm gonna go to the first slide of my presentation. That works quite well here because that's actually the home button. And if I click home, I wanna go to the first slide of my presentation. I can go once back and one slide forward. So I can use a text or an image as navigation elements. So you can, for example, use it for your trade fair. You can create an interactive presentation and you can have small arrows in the corners, for example, and you can say that's go back and that's go forward, as because you don't have a keyboard or whatever. I can also set a link to a slide. So I will insert a slide when clicking on here. So more information about that product, and if there's a link on the slide, it will insert a slide to that topic, the one you linked. A whole presentation can also be inserted, an overlay, I will explain that in a minute, and you can also set a link to a language. I will show you in a minute. So in this case, the home icon should lead to the first slide in that presentation. That's the link, that's it. And in here, I will type in go to English. So the user will know what to do. And on that area, I will set a link to a language. Go to English. I save it. And don't forget about the translation. So you go to the English version now. Here, I will set again the link to the first slide. And in here, I will just say, go to German. Set a link on the text to the German version. When I save it, I can use it just like that. Normally, you do the linking and then you translate it. So I did it now the other way around. That's why I had to do it twice. If I am if I'm doing it the other way around, so I do first the linking, so I create my slide completely, then it's done, and in the end I translate it. The links will be translated with it, or like they will be taken with it, so you don't have to do it twice. Good. So now let's see what happens if we start the presentation. We're in the English version now. I go on, and then I have the option to go to German because I can click on it here, because as you can see, my mouse is changing. There is a link available. Go to German, and you see the slide has changed. So basically now I'm in the German version. Let's see if that worked. So I go back, and that's the German. So basically I changed my presentation's language. That's German basically. I go back and I can go to English again. So that's the English version. It has exactly the same effect as if I put it in my enter menu like that. It's exactly the same. And this one works for the home button. So that's my home. Good. So actually that's the linking, and that's the translation and the linking topic when it comes to slides. There is one little more thing that I want to show you about slides, and that's overlays. As you might have seen, if I go back to the presentation, there is the possibility to link to an overlay. And now I'm going to explain to you what that means. So, what is an overlay? An overlay is a special kind of a slide. So it's not a normal slide, but it's a special kind of a slide. So it can only be put into the presentation and can be accessed only by clicking on an element, so on a link, what I just showed you. An overlay, you can think of it like, as you know it from some websites, it's a pop-up. So if you click on a button, there will be more information shown above the regular content, and with a little X, you can close that again and you're back on the website below. So that's basically how an overlay works. It's just the way that works. So you have it on top of your normal slide and it adds additional content. And the best thing about it is that you can click on it, but you don't have to. So actually you can have a product slide, for example, and you can have a row of product slides. You can present them. And the third product, for example, is the most interesting one for your customer right now. And he said like, okay, I want to know more about that. So then you can click on the buttons that you prepared and you can show them examples of that product or like the technical stuff about the product and stuff like that. But you don't have to show it like if you would have just inserted a slide afterwards. So that's actually what an overlay is. There is two ways to get to your overlay. First of all, you can create an overlay as an overlay. So by the template, it's defined as an overlay. More in detail, it's about the background template. It looks like that. So you have to link it to get it into your presentation. And an overlay is like that. Extra information, just a little box coming from the right hand side. It's semi-transparent and has a little X on the right upper corner. So that's an overlay, just as an overlay. But there is another option. You can use your slides also as an overlay. So any slide that you have, you can use at some points as an overlay. Just in that case, you can link it as an overlay. It looks like that. This is the slide you might know from before. It's exactly the same slide. You only have to maintain it once, but in that case, it's used as an overlay. Now I will quickly show you how that's done. In this case, I click on an icon or whatever, and I click on link and use overlay. And now I want to link to an overlay, and there are two options. Either I use the slide as an overlay or I use an overlay, just a regular overlay. Overlays themselves have a special icon here. It's green because it's a slide, but it's a special type of slide. For example, we can see here, we just choose some overlay like that. Now the link is set to an overlay. And here we're gonna set a link to an overlay, but we're gonna use a slide as an overlay. So we use a slide. For example, we use this slide as an overlay. We save it because we just edited the content because we created some links, and we start from the current slide, our presentation. And now we have two overlays. First of all, we have an overlay, a normal overlay. Looks like that. It's above the content, it has a special styling, it's just an overlay. You can only put it into your presentation when you link it. Clicking on the X, you close it again. And the second option is here on the URL. I have a slide, but it's used as an overlay, so it's a bit smaller and has an X, and that's it. But it's still a regular slide. So that's the topic of overlays. Good. To sum it up, now we've had the topic of presentations and even slides. We have had a look on how to create a slide, how to duplicate, a little bit on the content, what options do we have. we have so many more options, like for example 3D objects or media galleries or some fancy stuff. Even you can put in there some PDF files. As you can see here, we have some PDF files. This is just a big, a normal and with a normal PDF file with several pages, and I can present it in my presentation and my slide, for example. So we have so many options. We have created slides, we have linked it, we have created translations, we've presented it, we changed the language, we were flexible, and stuff like that. Good. So for more content about that one, please visit our knowledge base or our other webinars about templates if you want to go even one step further and want to know about the design of templates and the design of slides. Now for a conclusion, we have two more small topics that I want to show you. First of all, I want to show you the settings area. In the left corner, in the left bottom corner, that way, we have the icon for our settings. I'm not going to go through it very in detail because that's basically the topic of the administrative training. We have the profile settings. Every user has that. It's just those settings are just working for me and my user. They are not influencing any other user in the system. So we can change, for example, the profile picture. We can see our workspaces, groups, and favorites. So for me and my user. Down here, we have the UI language. So I can choose the whole UI either in German or in English. And the preferred content language. So what is the content? So what's the language I want to see if I open up a presentation or a slide? To choose, so everybody can choose that for their own. So in here we have the slide transition during the presentation. So what effect is used between the slides? In our case, it's sliding. We can choose two other ones. It's no longer an option for each and every single slide because the slides can be used in different presentations. And here we have the enter menu for touch devices. As you don't have a keyboard, you will have to click either on the right or the left edge of your screen. And here you can choose either if it's left or right. The next part here is the kiosk mode. It's a presentation mode for fairs and sales events. If you enable it for you and your user, so it's just influencing me, you have some more options. The kiosk mode doesn't do anything more than basically the presentation is playing in a loop. So you cannot exit it at the end. That's really good for example, for fairs, if you have like a touch point or something like that. And there you have your presono presentation and the fair visitors can access the presentations on their own. So there are some more options about that. The next part are the users, the user groups, and the workspaces. Find more about that one in the administration training, please. This is actually where you manage all the access rights and the permissions of the system. The next part are the categories. We have here all the categories available. We can change them. We can we can edit them. We can delete them. We can add some new ones. We can add some more levels. And for example, we can also add a translation. So this is only available in German. So I put in there some English one. Landscape. That's just the format of the image. The category. Now we have it in German. So that's the categories and how it's managed. Please take care from the users down to the account that is influencing the whole system. So the categories are not your personal categories. They are available for every user in the system. So in your platform, your company, your coworkers, whatever. That's also why this function is most of the time only available for administrators, because not everybody's supposed to create categories, workspaces, or groups and edit the permissions. Also, you can manage your languages here, so what languages are available for translation. And down here, you have some different configurations for the whole system. So it's all about the fonts, for example. Here you can choose font sizes to choose from, fonts in general for your templates, and you can upload your own fonts. You can also add some colors that you don't always have to look for the hex code of your color, for example. So you really always have the correct color. If you put it here, you can reuse it without having to look it up each and every single time. The slide transition that your choosers can choose from, right down here, right up here, is to be configured here. Here are some CSS styles available, so you can write here in CSS style to animate your slides. That's where the animation most of the time is coming from in our templates. And right here, we have some parts about the company. So the share duration, of course, of sessions or presentation can be changed for the whole company, the whole platform. And down here, we have some small customizable options for customizing the views that your viewers might access. So the on the one hand the enter menu, and on the other hand the shared presentation and shared session link. You can customize it a bit. So those were the settings. The last thing I want to show you are notifications and feedback. So for that, I open up my presentation and I will leave a feedback on that one. So either on the presentation or on the slide. In this case, on the presentation, because I know that I created it. I can look it up right here. I created it and I will receive the feedback just to demonstrate it. So I will leave a feedback on the presentation. Very nice presentation. Could you add an agenda slide, please? So my colleagues that, for example, do not have the right to edit the presentation can leave me a message and a feedback in the system. So I will see it when I enter the system and edit my presentations. So they sent me feedback. And if I enter the system, I will receive a feedback right here. Training presono. So who commented on my presentation, my first presentation. Very nice presentation. Oh, sorry. Very nice presentation. Could you add an agenda slide, please? Okay, I clicked on the feedback on the first presentation. I'm in the presentation. I can add now, for example, an agenda slide. And in the end, I will go up here back and say that feedback is resolved. It will wander back down here. And that's it. And now I'm done with the feedback. The other part here are notifications. So that's basically just notifications about the system itself. Those are the gray ones. And if I collaborate with some colleagues, I will get some notifications if they changed some slides. For example, if someone saved a slide, I can have a look on it, but I don't have to. It's just that you can, if you want to, stay up to date. Good. So basically that was it. This was our training for today. I want to thank you for your attention, and I wish you just all the best, and have fun trying out presono and trying out everything that I just showed you. Please don't hesitate to ask any questions. We have different options for questions. First of all, we offer regularly some Q&A webinars where you can register for free. And on the other hand, we can offer some in the knowledge base. So if you click on the knowledge base, first of all, you have the knowledge base itself. Here you will have the webinars. So here you can just register for example, for the Q&A webinar. And if you have like really an individual question, please just submit a request and you can create a ticket and we will try to answer you as soon as possible for your question. So thank you, and wish you all the best and have fun in trying out presono. So bye bye.